Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to HBH Podcast. Are you ready? Ready?
Send help! Sorry. I don't know why I started it like this.
Wow.
I just got back from the theater from seeing Send Help just now. And me and Horror Man had it planned out for a few days now that we were going to do basically a special episode over Send Help. We have both seen the film, obviously. So we're going to be talking about Send Help. Now, if you have not seen Send Help, you might not want to play this podcast yet because there probably will be some spoilers, so you have been warned. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about Sam Raimi. I've talked about Sam Raimi, I think a little bit on the channel. At least I've talked about some of his films. I'm a Sam Raimi fan. I think he's a great director. I love The Evil Dead, one of my favorite horror films of all time. Evil Dead 2, one of my favorite horror comedies. Army of Darkness, also one of my favorite horror comedies. Big fan of 2009's Drag Me to Hell. Watched that last night because I was in the Sam Raimi mood because I knew I was going to go see Send Help. Love Drag Me to Hell. Big fan of Darkman. I think Darkman's a great film. Big fan of, his Spider-Man films. Those are my favorite Spider-Man movies. Those are the movies that really made me fall in love with Spider-Man. I saw the Doctor Strange movie he did a few years back in the theater. That one was okay. I'm not a big superhero guy. When it comes to superheroes, the only ones I really care about, honestly, when it comes to like Marvel is Spider-Man, and when it comes to DC is Batman. So, of course, I like his Spider-Man films because I am a Spider-Man fan. But Doctor Strange, I'm not too crazy about Doctor Strange. But Sam Raimi's a great director for sure. I like pretty much all of his work. Obviously, I haven't said anything about Send Help yet. But yeah, Sam Raimi, he's one of the best to do it, in my opinion. Great director for sure. And if you hear me kind of sniffing a little bit, as I said, I just got back from the theater, and it is cold outside, and that's why I'm sniffing a little bit. I'm not doing cocaine or anything like that, but but yeah, that's why, because it is cold outside. So, Horror Man, what are your thoughts on Sam Raimi?
Sam Raimi is one of the best directors of all time, in my opinion, for horror.
Yeah,
When he made Evil Dead, he did it on a very low budget, and he did it
right.
with his friends, Bruce Campbell, which I think they went to the University of Michigan. I know they're
Yeah,
from Michigan, and he was an expert at low budget filmmaking when he did the first Evil Dead and the second one, and then on Army of Darkness, he got a way higher budget, and that's still a great film too. But yeah,
yeah,
he's very influential on the horror genre. I love Drag Me to Hell too. I thought that was a great movie. And his Spider-Man movies are pretty good too. I think I've seen at least two of them. I'm not sure if I've seen Spider-Man 3. But I
wow.
haven't seen Doctor Strange, and surprisingly, I haven't seen Darkman either, but I know of Darkman. One day I would like
Right.
to watch it because I
Yeah,
think on the Tumors VHS that I have, the preview for Darkman from 1990 was on that VHS.
yeah, I definitely recommend Darkman. And as you were saying about like the whole low budget thing, it's amazing how something like The Evil Dead that was such a low budget film becoming such a big IP, such a big horror IP is incredible. And just filming it with his friends basically. It goes to show, and I've said this on the show before, like you can make your dreams happen, honestly, and Sam Raimi proved that. And look at how far he's come since then. I mean, he's doing big films for Marvel. He's done
Yeah.
big horror films. He should be an inspiration for people for sure. The fact that, just to show you that you don't have to have a ton of money. You don't have to have some big studio behind you. I mean, The Evil Dead is definitely one of the most iconic horror films of the early 80s for sure.
I agree. And he was all close with Bruce Campbell and Robert Tappert and Scott Spiegel.
Yeah.
It was not, I think of Sam Raimi, I think it's of that kind of like group of people. Like he's always got them involved in something. Like
Yeah.
like in the new movie Sin Help, Bruce Campbell has a cameo pretty much in it. And I
Yeah,
believe you told
basically.
me earlier that he's in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that Bruce Campbell has pretty much cameoed in every Sam Raimi film where he's not playing Ash Williams. I'm pretty sure he's been in every Sam Raimi film.
Yeah, he should be a big inspiration for filmmakers everywhere because, like you said, he made an iconic movie with basically no money, and it
Yeah, and that's
became like a
incredible.
cult classic, a classic horror movie, and like even in like movies like A Nightmare on Elm Street, it was shown. Like
Right.
that's how big the Evil Dead became. And then the second one, some people even like Evil Dead 2 over the original, which I like the first one more
I'm pretty sure
over.
there was. I'm pretty sure that Sam Raimi and Wes Craven were like friends because that's
Yeah,
why the Evil Dead was shown in A Nightmare on Elm Street. Because in Evil Dead, is it two? I think or one? I can't remember where you see the Hills Have Eyes poster down in the
it's the
cellar.
original Evil Dead that has
Yeah,
the
that's right.
that one. But Evil Dead 2 that has the Freddy glove in it, I believe.
It
And
does.
one,
Yeah,
yeah,
they go way back apparently, which is pretty cool. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, me and Horror Man are definitely a fan of Sam Raimi and his work. With that being said, let's get into what you are all here for. Let's talk about Send Help. So I don't want to start this one off because actually Horror Man got to see this movie a little before I did, and I really want to know what he thought on the movie. So with that being said, Horror Man, talk a little. Actually, tell the people a little bit about what. Actually, let me do this. I've changed my mind. There, I'll let you start on your thoughts, but I'll read a little synopsis here on Google for the people who don't know basically what it's about. A woman and her overbearing boss become stranded on a deserted island after a plane crash. They must overcome past grievances. How do you say it? Grievances? I don't know how to say that. And work together to survive. But ultimately, it's a battle of wills and wits to make it out alive. So that's the little plot they have on Google. So, Horror Man, what are your thoughts on Send Help?
Sin Help is a great movie. It is now my favorite movie of the year.
I knew it. I was,
Mm.
dude, before this podcast started, I'm going to tell them he saw the movie last night and he's like, I can't wait to talk about this movie. And I'm like, dude, you just gave it away. Like, it's your favorite movie of the year. You liked it. Because why else would you say that? If you didn't like the movie, you wouldn't be excited to talk about it.
Yeah, and I can't wait to do this podcast because I think it's one of Sam Raimi's best movies now, honestly. Like he
Right.
really he really did amazing with this movie. It's basically a simple plot to it, like you just read.
Very
Uh,
simple.
there, this lady, what's her name? Linda in the movie.
Yeah, Linda, yep, played by Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, and her boss, Dylan O'Brien. I think his
Yeah,
name's
his name
Bradley.
was Bradley, yep.
Yeah, and pretty much Bradley is like one of them douchebag bosses where, um, like he uses people pretty much who like the lady the main lady was working there for him for like 6 years. Well,
Like
she was
7 years.
working for his father in the movie, and then he takes over because the father died, and she's
Right.
trying to get a promotion, and 6 years should be enough to get a promotion, but he promotes somebody that was only working
There
there for
for like
6 months,
6 months, yeah.
and I was like, just give her the promotion. But he's one of those types of bosses where no, he's kind of like a stuck up guy in the movie. Like he thinks he's better
Yeah.
than everybody, and that's really the actor that played him did a real good job at that kind of character.
Yeah.
Um, and Rachel McAdams, I think she actually stole the movie
She did.
from him. Once they get on that airplane and it crashes, I love that airplane crash scene because that one guy was desperately trying to hold on in the airplane,
He
and,
said, "Give me your seat."
and she started choking her out and stuff, and she
Yeah.
stabbed him, and he goes flying out the airplane, and
Right.
it's Sam Raimi. In his movies he has comedy,
Yeah.
and his style of comedy is great. I always love like his movie Evil Dead 2, which I think is one of the best horror comedies ever. But
Yeah.
in this movie, the guy that flew out the airplane, he's outside of the plane, like banging his head on the window, trying to still hold on. But after that, they crash onto this deserted island. That's when the movie really takes place at.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where their performances really shine too, because Rachel
Yeah.
McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, their chemistry together was amazing. Like
Incredible. Yeah.
the dialogue, It's kind of like a role reversal because you know how he was like a douchebag in the office, but on this island he really has no power. So it's really
Right.
she got the power because I think I seen something in the trailer that she was a fan of watching the show Survivor, and that's
Yeah.
where
She
she
learned
get
all her stuff.
yeah, exactly. That's where she learned how to survive if she was in that situation. And you
Right.
know, he didn't know what he was doing. He was just laying around, and she was really the boss on the island. He was boss in the office.
Right.
But yeah, that movie, great acting, great performances. Um, I love the dynamic that she was the one that had the power over him, and you know he
Yeah.
was kind
Right.
of he was injured. He was like walking around limping. That has a twist in the movie. I don't know if we were going to talk about the
Yeah.
twist.
Let's not say it yet. Um. So here's my thoughts on Send Help. Honestly, so I don't know if it's one of the things where I'm gonna have to watch this movie again.
Uh-huh.
But watching it in the theater, like it's got that Sam Raimi feel. Like you said, the comedy in this movie, I think is actually hit or miss. I think there's some points in it that I think is really funny, and then there's other
Hmm.
times where I'm just kind of like, eh. Um, this movie's definitely a slow burn, by the way. So if you're not really a fan of slow burns, I think this movie's definitely a slow burn. For me, I think that this movie was just all right. Like I liked it, but I didn't think that this was like Sam Raimi's best work. That's why I said I may have
Um,
to watch it again. I may have to give it a second watch because sometimes, like, your first viewing of a movie isn't the best viewing. I could watch it again and like it even more. But let me get into this. I love movies like this. I love movies that take place in one setting. Basically being on the island the entire movie, as you said. um,
mhm.
Rachel McAdams is great. Dylan O'Brien is great. Their chemistry is amazing. Like you said, Rachel McAdams shines here. I thought she did great. But I feel like this movie, at least sitting in the theater in this first watch for me, I was almost like, when is something going to happen? If that makes sense. Like, you have all the stuff in the beginning, which is fine. It builds up to them getting on the airplane. You have the airplane crash, which I liked. I didn't think that was bad at all. And then they get on the
Mhm.
island, and for a while I'm sitting there like, when is something going to happen? Like what? Like okay, they're trying to survive. I get that. That's great. But I'm sitting here like, okay, is this literally just a survival movie? Where's the horror aspect to the film? I was waiting for something crazy to happen. The
Yeah, it's like
last I feel like the last 30 to 40 minutes of this movie is the best part of the entire film, because when we're on the island, like, I love that stuff. I love there being one setting. I think it's cool that we're on an island the entire movie. But for me, sitting there in the theater had me just going, when is something going to happen? I was expecting something crazy to happen at some point, and it feels like a long waiting game. And then you get into the twist, and you learn more about Rachel McAdams' character, Linda.
yeah.
Um, but I felt like a lot of it for me was just, when is something going to happen?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a slow burn type of movie. Like it's a build up. She I think she had, you know, with her character, she had a husband, and she was telling the story to Bradley that her husband died in a car accident. So I
Yeah.
think that kind of messed her head up. That's why I think she's crazy in the movie.
Well,
Like
when you
once she
when
got
you watch it though, when
home,
she explains it to him though, you find out that she basically caused that accident
yeah, because she gave him the keys.
and another
Um,
drink before he went out to
yeah, exactly.
drive, and then he had the accident. So she was behind that, which I thought was great. When we got to that point, I figured, okay, I get what's happening now. She is actually crazy because, like, they're on the island. She doesn't want to leave. There's
Yeah.
a point in the movie where a boat goes by, and instead of like screaming for them, she hides. She doesn't want to be found. So she's crazy. But once you find out that her basically her husband, her ex-husband, was mean to her. He wasn't a great guy, as she says,
Hmm.
and she basically helped him have his accident. So at that point, she's crazy. So when that happened, for me, that was when the movie started picking up a little bit because you kind of know what direction it was going. But everything before that just felt so like you're almost on edge because you're kind of like, I want like what's going to happen. I want something to happen. So once you get to that point, I feel like the movie does start to pick up a little bit.
Yeah, and you kind of like anticipating the crazy part in the movie, but
Yeah,
then also it gives Bradley's story about his dad wasn't there and that his mom was abusive. So they really had, problems going growing up, I guess,
yeah,
and
both of them.
that kind of like combines to like, oh, these two people are on an island together with these problems they have, and they don't see eye to eye even in the beginning, like because she didn't give
No,
him the promotion. Well, he
right.
didn't give her the promotion. And one of my favorite scenes in that movie though is when she goes out looking for food and that wild boar encounter, and
Yeah,
she has to survive, so she hunts down a boar, and once she stabs that boar in Sam Raimi fashion, all that blood goes into her face. And I was like,
yeah,
yeah, that's classic Sam Raimi because Sam Raimi and Evil Dead franchise, gallons of blood on Bruce Campbell, and
right.
yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes. And his survival instinct was just basically delayed there because he couldn't even walk hardly until he kind of recovered. But
Right.
I love that scene where he's kind of like the beggar because he's starving and he
Yeah.
ain't eating, and he had to eat that nasty bug, and that was just nasty to watch.
You
But he
know,
goes to Rachel McAdams' character begging for food basically, and she does
yeah.
give him food, but he does her dirty by like drugging her later on or
That's
whatever
what
he
I was
gave her.
that's what I was gonna say. Like you said, I love that this movie has the like old fashioned Sam Raimi like gore, even though there's a ton of CGI in this movie,
Yeah, it
which
is.
it's definitely a downfall for me, unfortunately. I think that the
Mhm.
scenes look great, like with the boar. I thought that was cool. I didn't think the CGI looked terrible. It's just CGI sometimes sticks out like a sore thumb. And I feel
Yeah,
like there's a lot of CGI in this movie that sticks out like a sore thumb. But one scene I loved, it's disgusting, very Sam Raimi and random. As you were saying, when he drugged her with those like poison berries,
try to
and
escape on the
he
raft.
tries to escape on the raft. I love the scene where she pulls him back in, and as she's trying to save him, she's throwing up all over him. Like
Yeah,
it's so disgusting, but it's so Sam Raimi. That to me, that
yeah.
scene right there was like, ooh, okay, this is gross. Like this is good. That
Mhm.
scene, something about that scene just was total Sam Raimi to me.
And it wasn't just a little bit either. It went on for
No,
about 20 seconds, constantly throwing up on. Well, I know you said earlier about there was a boat that came to try to look for him. Well, we didn't mention that the guy Bradley's got a fiance,
yeah,
and she goes out on a search team pretty much looking for him and her, and they eventually find the island where they were stranded at. And once that happens, she's got in her mind that she ain't gonna leave the island because I think she was kind of getting attached to the guy when they got drunk,
yeah,
making the homemade wine or whatever they said,
right.
like the wine you would make in jail. Um, yeah, but eventually they find them, and Linda, she's crazy, and she prevents that
And
with
I do
my
like that
fiance.
twist though.
Yeah, I did too. I like
Like
the
I like
twist.
that you find out that she's crazy. Like I didn't see it go in that direction. Like I knew we were going to go in some direction at some point. Like I knew something was going to happen. But I didn't realize that the character of Linda was basically going to end up being crazy because if you look at it, Bradley he's crazy too, but he's almost really just trying to defend himself from Linda. Linda's definitely the crazy one. And earlier in the film, like when she first sees the boat, I don't think it is Bradley's fiance because they say later on how the twist in the movie. Do you want to say the twist
The twist in the movie is that there was a house not far
on the
well, it's
island?
on the island, and that's where she got the knife. And she lied about the knife like swimming up on the ocean from
Swimming.
the
A knife
shore.
doesn't swim.
Well, I mean, it came from the shore. She was
Yeah,
like crazy the things that swim up on shore. Yeah, there's a big old like nice house on the island, and she
yeah.
she went there. and she kind of like ate their food, and he
Yeah.
didn't know about it until he found it later on.
Which is crazy. Like, it makes sense in the movie. There's a scene in the movie where there's like this mountain, not mountain, but this area where these two rocks make an X, and she pretty much
Yeah.
tells him to not go around there because she knew that's where the house was, which I thought was cool. But earlier in the film, when she sees that boat, I don't think that's his fiance. I think it's the caretakers of that building. Because I'm
Oh,
pretty
that's
sure they
right.
show, yeah, it's the caretakers of the
That's
building,
right.
and then the second time is his fiance shows up, and
Yeah.
you know, Linda's such a crazy character that when you know Bradley's fiance shows up with that guy too, I don't remember his name, but they
Yeah. I
showed up
don't.
to they showed up to save them. Of course, Linda ends up killing them pretty much,
Yeah, she was
because
hanging off a cliff,
she
and
was
she
hanging off the
ran
side of
away.
a cliff because she slipped, and then the guy that was trying to help her that was on the boat, she ends up hitting dude over the head with a rock, so she killed him for sure. Like, she, she's just crazy. Like, I didn't expect it to go that direction. I do really like that movie. Wow, I really do like this movie because of
Yeah.
that twist. Like, I love a good twist, and to me that's great because you really don't expect her to just be crazy. Basically, you expect, oh, something's gonna happen on this island. You don't expect her to end up being some psycho person.
Yeah, and once they get into the house, that's where the final like battle happens between them because
Which
there is a
actually, the
battle.
fight, the fight between them out in the woods is to
Yeah,
me where the peak of the movie was. I really enjoyed all of that. Like, he puts his thumb in her eyeball, which is
yeah, that was a
disgusting.
great
She
scene.
stabs him in the side. Like, that stuff was great. When basically when all hell breaks loose, that's when I
Yeah,
really liked the film. I have moments that I very much like. I have, the moments that feel the most like a Sam Raimi movie are the moments I like the most.
yeah, and once they get to the house, that's where they had that the final little battle there. And like,
Yeah.
he tries to manipulate her and telling her that he loved her and stuff, and she's believing it. But he's hiding something behind his back to try to kill her with, and
Yeah, it
she's
was one of
pointing
those
having
like
him at
horns
gunpoint.
from the bull statue or something.
Yeah, and at the ending of the movie, it's kind of like, did she really kill him or not? Like, I don't know if he died because it didn't show. It kind of like cut out of nowhere. Like, it didn't like complete the story.
I think that I don't know if that was done on purpose. Like, I don't think they would do a sequel to Send Help. I don't. So I'm
Yeah, I
gonna say
mean,
that she probably killed him because, as they said at the end of the film, she was the only survivor. But that doesn't
yeah,
mean he survived somehow. But either way, I think that she killed him, and then she went on to be obviously kind of famous because of that. So I think that was her plan was at that point, like, well, if he doesn't want to stay on this island, I'll kill him and then become, this big time survivor, like a name that people know because of her story. So I think he died, but I mean, I guess if they wanted to go somewhere else with this story, they could.
yeah. If he did live, he would be the one to get revenge on her. Like, probably like kidnap her or something and put her in a different, separate location. Kind of like try to torture her, probably. But I don't think there will be a second one. I know Sam Raimi, he probably won't do a second one for that one.
I
I hope
doubt it.
Sam Raimi does do more horror movies so in the future again, because that was his first horror movie since
Since
Drag Me to Hell, and
'09.
that was like 16 years ago almost, or
Yeah,
17.
since
Um,
2009.
but yeah, that movie right now currently is my favorite of this year. I loved it. Like, I loved the dialogue between them. I thought it was good storytelling. Um, yeah, I really got no complaints with it.
Yeah, I think it's Rotten Tomatoes has
I think
given
it's
it
a
a good
solid movie.
score. I've heard everyone who's reviewed it and talked about it on YouTube has loved it for the most part. For me, I
Yeah,
definitely liked it. It's just for me it was weak for a Sam Raimi movie. I don't know if I need to give it another watch because, as I said earlier in the show, like sometimes you have to give a movie another watch, and sometimes that second watch helps change your mind. So maybe I
mhm.
just got to give it another watch. But I enjoyed it. I'm not saying that I was disappointed. I just feel like this was weak for Sam Raimi. I mean,
Yeah.
I
When
don't
it
know.
comes to
Like for
Blu-ray,
me, I feel like Drag Me to Hell is better than Send Help.
uh, I had to think on that if it's better. I don't know. Right now, it's my favorite movie of the year. Um, but Drag Me to Hell, we can do a whole discussion on that one as well.
Yeah.
But I love both of those movies. Like, you can't really go wrong with Sam Raimi. Like, he's not made any bad movies, in my opinion.
No, I
Like,
agree. Like I
he's a
don't
great
think
director.
yeah, I think he's a great director. I don't think he has bad movies either because I don't think Send Help is bad. I just feel like for a Sam Raimi movie, I was expecting more, I guess.
Well, he was a director. He didn't write Sin Help. The guys that wrote Freddy versus Jason and the 2009 Friday the 13th reboot
Yeah,
wrote that
they
movie.
wrote it.
Which, I love Freddy vs. Jason. I love the 2009 Friday 13 as well. And now I love this movie. So all three of those I'm a fan of now.
And
But
the writing for me wasn't bad. It's not any of that. I just felt like watching it had me like, when is something going to happen? Like I feel like nothing really happens until you get to the last act of the movie. Which I don't know, I just didn't expect that from Sam Raimi. I'm all about slow burns and stuff like that, but to me Sam Raimi isn't a slow burn type of director. Like I was just expecting
mhm.
something quicker than when we got it, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That doesn't bother me at all. But for me, it just I don't know. It just I felt like it kind of lacked as a Sam Raimi film. I think it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I'll definitely watch it again. But it wasn't something to where I was like, oh my gosh, dude, like Sam Raimi's back. Like this is Sam Raimi's
Oh,
back at doing horror movies. This is a big comeback. I just don't feel that way.
so what would you like rate it overall out of 10?
Out of 10, as of right now, from my first viewing, I'm going to give it probably a solid 7 or 7.5. I liked it. I definitely enjoyed it. I had a good time. I just, for a Sam Raimi film, I feel like it just comes a little short.
I probably would give it like an 8.5. I don't know if it will. It might land up in my top five of the year, maybe. But
Yeah.
right now, early part of the year, I don't know. Only Scream 7 might top it for me. I don't know. Yeah.
I seen
But
somebody said this earlier on YouTube. I can't remember who it was. But I will say this though. Kind of outside of the whole send help talk. You guys know how like usually January is like a curse for horror films. I'm not gonna lie, this January we've gotten some pretty good films. Like I think, like I said, I like Send Help. I've only seen two horror movies from this year so far: Send Help and 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and I've enjoyed them both for sure. I think they're both really good, and I think it's cool that we have a January to where we're not just getting crap films.
yeah, exactly. I liked pretty much all of the movies that came out this month, like Sin Help and Primate, 28 Days Later, The Bone Temple, and then some movies that came out to like VOD. Like there, I like that movie Killer Whale. So pretty much
Mm.
all of the ones I've seen 10 of them from this year so far, and I would say more than half of them I liked.
Yeah, I think it's
Mhm.
incredible that like this January has been good for horror because usually, like literally, I'm not just saying this. Anyone who's a horror fan can vouch. Like usually when horror films come out in January, there's some sort of curse behind it for some reason. Like they're usually
Yeah.
not great. This year, I've been pleasantly surprised by what we've gotten
Yep, and
from the two films I've seen. So I can't say much, but two theatrical films that I've seen so far have been good.
you definitely need to see Primate. That was a great one.
I do want to see Primate actually. That's one on my list. The only reason I didn't get to see it is because my theater here didn't get it, unfortunately.
And
But
Return to
I'm
Silent Hill.
yeah, Return to Silent Hill I haven't seen yet. I've not heard the best things about it. I think it's got like a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
But I liked it a lot.
Yeah, you're somebody who liked it. I'm definitely going to check it out though because I am a Silent Hill fan, so I want to see kind of where that movie goes for sure. I know it's based off of Silent Hill 2,
Yep, exactly.
but But yeah, as I said, I gotta give it another watch. I did enjoy Send Help. What would you rate Send Help out of 10? You said 8.5?
8.5, yeah.
Yeah, see, I definitely gotta watch again. I liked it, but it falls short a little bit as a Sam Raimi film for me. But I'll give it another watch. I'll probably buy it. Oh, and
Definitely.
let's mention the music in the movie by Danny Elfman was
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, we almost forgot that. Dan, I didn't even know Danny Elfman did the music for this movie
Dude,
until
I didn't
recently when
either.
I seen the credits.
I
And
didn't
I was
know
like,
until I
wait a
went to the
minute.
theater.
They got Danny Elfman, a legendary composer. In my
Hmm.
opinion, I think he I mean, he's done so much with Burton and other directors.
Yeah.
His score in this movie was great as usual. Like, there's no bad Danny Elfman scores. Like, it's kind of like impossible for him, I think, to make a bad score.
No, I agree. Danny Elfman did a great
It
job with the
really helps
score.
the film when you got a good score behind him, and especially getting somebody like him. Like, he's top notch. Like, you really can't, except for like John Carpenter and some other guys. Like, Danny Elfman's a good choice all the time.
I agree, but I definitely want to see Send Help again. But after my first viewing, I don't know, I just expected more. I guess that's the only way to put it, really. But let us know in the comment section down below if you guys have seen Send Help, and if you have, let us know your thoughts. As always, in the description down below, you can follow me on Instagram. You can follow Horrorman93 on Instagram. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a like and subscribe. That would be much appreciated. And when you need help, don't call us.